Morning. I hope you guys are having a good day. Welcome to Money in the Morning. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. This is where we get together every morning and we practice the art of economic elevation. I hope everybody's doing well. It's so good to see you. I'm always excited to talk to all of you because this is my favorite part of the day, because this is the time we get a chance to be black and proud and we get to build and we get to plan for the future and really get to live our best life. So, good morning, everybody, and I hope you're feeling good. And by the way, just a reminder, I sent you all a link. If you want to join that class, we're doing a master class on how to pay zero taxes legally by Larissa Humphrey. That class is going to start on the 22nd, and you all can get a special discount of 48% off for the rest of the day. And so, if you haven't gotten that link, I'll text that out to you. When I get a chance, I don't have it with me, so I can't put it in the chat. But and maybe I can find it real quick or something. But I'll try to look for it. And if you want to join, feel free to do that. Now, the reason that that stuff is important is because basically in America, it's really important to understand the biases in the tax system, right? I mean, we can complain about it, but no one's going to care. America's always been a country that takes care of its investors, its wealthy people, its business owners, etc. So, my belief is that every black family should not just uh, owns a piece of a business, but I believe every family that wants to wealth build should have an LLC because LLCs give you lots of abilities to write things off in ways that you can't if you are a regular worker. Now, and now this is the point I want to try to make on this, and I want to try to state it as clearly and as delicately as I can, so that we can all understand where I'm coming from and it's not misinterpreted on any level. But basically, I'm just a believer that ultimately we should do everything we can to keep our kids out of two things actually, out of the school system and out of the worker rut, right? The worker rut. And let me just tell you where this comes from. I put a post on my Instagram yesterday. My Instagram is Dr. Boyce Finance, and I'm gonna show you the post. I think it's personally I think it's kind of funny. And but before I do that, let me I'm gonna send out a text to everybody who's still in the bed asleep. And now those of you who register for the private Zoom, just know you get to come in, and if you ask a question or something, if I do a Q&A, I'll get to see your question. But anyone who comes in late, or if I send you the link, it's going to be the YouTube link, because what happens is that if they hit the Zoom link and it's after the class is over, they can't actually watch that day's training. So let me show you all what I put on my Instagram. My Instagram is Dr. Boyce Finance, and I'm gonna show you all what I put up there. I thought it was kind of funny. It's a little AI image. Okay, now give me 1 second. Hold on. Karen says my voice is going in and out. How do I sound? Can you hear the words that are coming out of my mouth? How do I sound? Am I going in and out, or am I coming through clearly? Am I fine? Am I good? Okay, Yvette says I'm good. Okay, all right. I see yes, clear. Okay, good. All right, yeah. So sorry, sorry, Miss Terry. It sounds like it's an isolated scenario, but let me show you all this. I thought this was so cute and hilarious. This is just the power of AI. Look at this little gopher or raccoon or something. I don't know something like that. And he's a McDonald's employee. And I just saw it and I was like, I just thought I'd be, sometimes I'm a smart ass and people get mad at me for that. That's why I ain't got no friends. My wife told me that. But anyway, I just said, here's what I just said, but this is me being honest. I said, this will be your son in the year 2040 if you don't leave him any generational wealth. And I have to admit that was kind of harsh, right? I didn't want to make I didn't I'm not calling your son a coon, and I'm not saying that he has to work at McDonald's, nor am I making fun of any McDonald's employees because workers drive this country. Let's just be clear about that. And also, let's just also be clear, if you want to be honest and for real about everything, we won't have cashiers in the year 2040. Like, you do understand, like, how many of you understand that with AI, you're not even gonna have cashiers in the year 2040. You won't even have drivers of cars in the year 20. Did y'all know that? Do y'all know that driverless cars are right around the corner, and that they're literally, I mean, I hate seeing the world operate like this, but I know a lot of people who make a good living driving Ubers. And let me just tell you something about Uber. Uber treats their drivers like crap. They treat them like crap. They don't get any like real labor rights. They don't they take a big chunk of your money. I mean, they are some big fat gigantic digital pimps. That's what they are. They like get out there, ho, make me my money, and then they take a big old cut of it and leave you some crumbs. And I think it's criminal. It's absolutely criminal, and I don't think it's going to change because let's just be honest, there's a good probability that you have a criminal that's running the entire country right now. I know some of y'all voted for Trump and stuff, and I told you I don't vote for Biden nor Trump, but I know Trump, and I don't hate him as much as America does. Everybody just some people just hate his guts. I don't hate him. I just see him for what he is. And when I because I've been studying the man since the 1980s, and because I'm in finance, just like him. When I was 19 years old, I don't know if I told you about this. I wrote a letter to Donald Trump when I was 19, or I think I was 20. What year was it? It was 90. I was 19 and I'm point 0.9 years old. I turned 20 that summer. I wrote a letter to him because at that time he was just a rich guy. He wasn't the political guy. He was just this like beacon, an icon of wealth. And at that time, my goal was actually, I was a pretty good finance student. I was actually the number one finance student on the entire campus at the University of Kentucky. I got a Wall Street Journal Outstanding Graduating Senior Award or something, and so I wanted to go to Wall Street. That's what I wanted. I wanted to go to Wall Street because I'd seen the movie Wall Street. I wanted to be a Wall Street banker and all that. Now I don't. All that stuff, I wouldn't want to do that crap. Now it's no, it ain't. Sometimes when you're young, you dream about stuff, and then you get to the reality of the dream, and you're like, I'm glad I didn't get what I wanted. I have students that went to Wall Street though. I taught a lot of students at Syracuse because Syracuse is close to Wall Street. But anyway, with that being said, here's what I kind of wanted. So somebody made a comment when I made my little smart aleck comment where I was like, "This will be your son in 2040 if you don't give him generational wealth." I do still believe that, by the way. I do still believe that just like we can inherit assets, you can also inherit a struggle. Right? Do we agree on that? Do you agree with me that if you don't pass down generational wealth, you're passing down generational pain? Like do we agree? Can we agree on that? Do you understand? Like your kids are gonna inherit something from you. They're gonna inherit something. They can inherit trauma. They can inherit money. They can inherit mental illness. They can inherit stocks and bonds. They can inherit molestation, or they can inherit real estate. Right. So here's the deal. You're leaving an inheritance, whether you like it or not. Anybody in here who either has kids, plans to have kids, is impacting kids on any level, you're leaving something behind. I think the only question is, what are you leaving? What are you choosing? Are you just leaving whatever splatters out of your existence from you just making a bunch of decisions that don't make any sense? Or are you leaving something that is connected to your consciousness? Like I'm consciously leaving you something specific with clear intentionality that's going to ensure that you're going to succeed. Why? Well, because I know that winners don't win by accident. Do we agree? Do we agree? Like that winning isn't something that just happens where you like, oh, slipped and folded. I won the championship. No, or I was running down the block and I fell on my face and landed in her vagina, and now she got three of my kids, and I don't know how that happened. Right? 'Cause people think that type of stuff, right? They really think they slipped and fell and landed in the bed with somebody and had kids with them, right? So here's the thing: winning success does not happen without consciousness and intentionality. You have to plan to win a battle. You have to plan to win a Super Bowl. You have to plan to win a marathon. You have to plan to win a contest. You have to plan to win things. So if you want to plan to win the game of generational wealth, then well, you got to be intentional. And really, you're not winning the game of generational wealth. You're actually winning the game of economic warfare. See, economic warfare is everywhere. Right now, you see the United States and China engaged in massive economic warfare. There is economic warfare. We don't have a war on poverty. We have a war against the poor. We have a war against those that are in poverty. This is the country you live in. There is an economic war against black people. That I do believe that. So I stand by my statement, but here's the thing. Somebody made a comment to me that made me realize, okay, I want to talk about this a little more because he made a good point. I think he said, let me find this comment because I responded to him on my Instagram. My Instagram's Dr. Boyce Finance. Feel free to pop in. I'd love to have some smart people in there. And he made a comment. I want to find it. I don't, here we go. He said something like, um, let me see here. He said, "Here we go. Here we go. I got it. I got it. Thanks, love doctor. Made a good comment. It looks like he might be a doctor. Oh, look at that. Wow, I think he's a doctor. Let me show you. Let me show you. I'm hovering over his profile. I don't know this guy at all, but I do respect you, and I respect those who disagree with me. Just as long as we can respect each other. Like you come in hating and stuff, then we gonna have a problem. But just be nice. All right. So here, love doctor. See, you can see it looks like he's a doctor, or he's pretending to be one, but I think he's a doctor. And he says nothing wrong with a young person having a job. It helps teach character and hard work. I agree with that comment immensely. And I saw that comment and it helped me understand maybe I didn't explain what I'm thinking on this. Okay. And how many so let's start with debate. Let's start with this. Let's start with where we want to get clarity. How many of you agree that hard work builds character? Do we agree that working it builds character, that working being builds discipline? How many of you agree that there is virtue in somebody getting up and doing an honest day's work every day? How many of you work hard every day? If you're a hard worker, raise your hand. Lazy people, keep your hand down. Okay. So let's just start there. 100%. 100%. Not only does working build character, and not only do we have we all, most of us worked for someone at some point, but the workers are the ones who drive this country. Let's just be 100% abundantly clear about that. Not only do workers drive the country in terms of productivity, but workers drive the country in terms of consumption, spending. Did you know, how many of you know this, that 70% of the US economy is driven by consumer spending? The reason the US economy has this American exceptionalism is because you have a really an exceptionally resilient population as it pertains to spending money. People will show up to the mall in a recession. They will show up to the mall when they ain't got no job. They'll show up to the mall during the pandemic. So people in America, workers in America, are probably the most important part of America. If I had a choice between trading the people that get up and go to work every day or giving away some of these lazy billionaires, I'd give away the Donald Trumps and whoever's in a heartbeat. But here's what I responded to the love doctor with, and we had a little back and forth. I like the guy. I don't know him, but I liked him. I said, yeah, I agree with you. I worked. I tried to get a job at McDonald's, but they wouldn't hire me. I worked at Taco Bell, Wendy's. I wanted to work at Burger King too because I like Burger King, but I couldn't get a job there. And I worked at a place called the Hungry Pelican, and I worked at Hardee's. That was where the white lady tried to sleep with me when I was 18 years old for money, but that was gross. I almost threw up. And then there was Arby's. I worked at Arby's. So that's my work. So the work definitely is something I agree with. I can relate to that. I respect it, and it did build character 100%. But here's what I want you to consider, and this is what I want us to realize. American workers are getting just absolutely screwed. They've been running a Diddy party on the American worker for about 40 years. And the history of it is that it was really right before Reagan took office. The Republicans and the conservatives basically said, okay, we're going to go in here and we're going to make ourselves rich. We're going to bust up the labor unions so that the workers have no capital base anymore. I told you all how important the capital base is. Labor unions create a capital base that can compete with the shareholders because you're collapsing and bringing everyone together as a unit. If you're broken into pieces, they can pick you off one by one. See, that's a powernomics philosophy. That's why I tell you that the number one goal of America was to always break up the black family because it's easy for them to go after the single mother when she ain't got no man. It's easy for them to go after the single father when he ain't got no backup. It's easy for them to go after your kids when your kids ain't got good parents because they at work all the time. So they break you apart. They create these psyops, the culture, whether it's hip hop or extreme feminism or men who hate women, and they create all this stuff keeps you divided. Well, why? Well, because it's easier to exploit you if you're divided. If I'm a pimp and I got five hoes, I do not want those five hoes unifying for anything. I don't want them to come to me and negotiate with me as a collective because they're gonna have too much power. I'll slap one of them, then the other four might beat me, might attack me. That's a problem for me. So what I gotta deal with you one on one, one by one. Right? If you're talking about a pimp, that's what a pimp does not want unity. A pimp does not want consciousness. A pimp does not want people that are that are not vulnerable. They want you on drugs. They want you to be struggling and broke. They want your self-esteem to be low, not high. They want you to be divided, not unified. Right? So capitalism, if you want to understand U.S. capitalism, if you've ever watched a movie about pimps, if you watch Hustle and Flow or some of the old school Mac movies, that helps you understand a lot about capitalism, etc. And the NCAA, the way the NCAA ran for a long time, they were kind of like pimps, and I've done that analogy before, so I won't go into that. But my point is to say that unity of the American worker was something that actually protected workers. The 1960s was one of the best eras in U.S. history because workers actually had rights, and CEOs still made their money, but the workers actually did okay. Since the 1960s, again, right before Reagan was in the 80s, it was in the 70s that they began to make plans to prepare for the 80s. Remember, I told you all preparation is the key to success. So they planned, again, that's why I'm always asking you, what is your plan? If you have no plan, then somebody's planning on you. Somebody's making a plan against you. You better be making a plan to protect yourself. So that's what they did. Okay. Now, I'm not saying this as a Democrat or Republican, though. I told you I don't vote for either party. I voted for Cornell West because I like Cornell West, and I'm not going to change my opinion about none of that. Period. You ain't going to tell me who to vote for. But this is my observation. So here's the deal. Here's what I want you to get. I was explaining to the brother, I said, look, yeah, yeah, there's a lot of virtue in getting up and going to work every day, but it's not what you're doing so much, it's really how you're doing it. And it's the position within which you're doing it. And are you in a space where that work is going to be valued? In fact, let me give you some quick statistics to help you understand just how crazy things are and how the crazy things have gotten in America. All right, number one, CEO pay, if you compare CEO pay to worker pay from 1978 up until now, remember I told you the 70s was when they started to dismantle these things. Did you know that according to the Economic Policy Institute, CEO compensation has increased by 1,085%, while the typical worker compensation has only increased by 24%? 24%, 1,085%. That's the, are y'all hearing what I'm saying? That's unbelievable. That's amazing. Emergency expense preparedness. The Federal Reserve's 2023 report found that 37% of U.S. adults cannot afford to cover a $400 emergency expense with cash or its equivalent. So they can't cover $400 expense, 37% of American people. That's scary. Let's see. Pew Research reported that the share of Americans in middle class households decreased from 61% in 1971 to 51% in 2023. Notice that the 70s is when all this began. Also, this blew my mind. I had to triple check. I couldn't believe this was shocking. They said 53 million Americans, or 44% of workers aged 18 to 64, 18 to 64, earn low hourly wages with the median wage of $10.22 an hour. I double checked that. I went to the Brookings Institute, and they did have that stat. Let me tell you what they said. They said in a recent report, we found that 53 million Americans age 18 to 64 earn low wages. Their median hourly earnings are $10.22, and for those working full time year round, median annual earnings are about $24,000. Now, this was in 2020. But still, damn, I still don't believe that. That's just so shocking. That's shocking. That's really shocking to me. So I can keep going, but here's another thing too. Did you all know that despite the fact that workers' wages haven't gone up, at least when compared to inflation, worker productivity has skyrocketed. Since the 1970s, workers are more productive than ever. And so the way economic theory is supposed to operate is that when your productivity increases, your wealth should be increasing. Right? And wealth is increasing, but the wealth is going to the top. It's rising to the top. And who's at the top? Who's getting this wealth? Well, it's people who own stock. It's not just rich people. Yeah, rich people are going to get their cut 100%. It's people who own stock, right? And so now do you understand why I tell you that when you're talking about what you're going to leave the kids, you got to leave them some stock. You have to. You have to. And when I throw the image out and I was like, this will be your son in 2040 if you don't leave him some generational wealth, I was really pointing out the fact that a lot of the reason that many of us struggle financially is because we inherited the struggle from our parents. Maybe they just didn't know any better, but that was their excuse. That's not yours. That's not your excuse. Now you know better. Maybe they didn't know. Maybe they didn't even, the stock market's for white people, and I don't know how to open an account. Fine, I get that. That would have been a good excuse in 1975, 1985, maybe 1995. That is not a good excuse in 2025. It's not, especially when you got a person with a whole PhD in finance that you could talk to every morning who's literally begging you to consider the things that we're talking about here. So again, I just want to make that clear. Working it does build character. Really, a lot of struggle builds character. I was joking with my friend about how a lot. My wife is a therapist, and one thing therapists do is my dad and I. My dad's traumatized like me. He's my dad's really crazy. I'm like half crazy, but he's super crazy because I told you he's a Vietnam vet who's actually killed people. And we laughed about how the therapists they tend to notice like all the bad stuff that happened in your life and the trauma and they don't understand that sometimes you have to go through bad stuff to be a tough person, right? You got to go through tough experiences to be a tough person because so as I look back on the things I've gone through that were hard, I some of that was a blessing. I've had really tough situations where I hit rock freaking bottom and had nothing, didn't have a nickel to my name, was struggling, desperate, really having a hard time, and those experiences really built character. So similar to the way tough experiences build character, working also builds character, 100%. However, if I could do those experiences again, this is where my wife, the therapist, and people like her are correct. I really don't think I had to go through the life or death rock bottom experience in order to build the same character, right? Like so when I hit that point where I was just extremely desperate financially and I figured it out because I had no other choice or I was going to get evicted, it would have been nice to have somebody there that could have provided some sort of an economic safety net so that I didn't have to go through all of the pain and the heavy trauma that comes with going through those difficult experiences. So my point is to say that working is the same way. Working does build character, but working should also come with a reward that you get when you've shown the character of showing up to work every day. Do you understand what I'm saying? Right? Well, working's gonna make you tough, but if you're a tough person and you fight through it, then you should be rewarded for that. Here's the problem. The problem is in this country, you got millions of people that work their asses off, work to the bone, scrounge, scrape, struggle, figure it out, and they still broke at the end of the day. If you're working that hard, you should be rewarded. When your kids are working that hard, they should have the rewards that come with that level of hard work and not just be rewarded for getting through the struggle by getting more struggle as a gift. It's like you climbed out of the shit, here's a bowl of shit. That's not fair. That's not right. That's wrong. And here's the thing. We know that this is not fair. We know that the way workers are being treated is not fair. Do you agree with me? Do you agree that in America workers are not treated fairly? I give me a yes if you agree with me on this. I hope you get what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense. Productivity's gone up, wages have remained flat, CEO pay skyrocketed, workers' pay is late rate remain flat. All that is unfair, unfair, unfair. We agree on that, right? So given that we agree, the question then becomes you got to graduate. We got to go from first grade to second grade on this. So the next question is if it ain't fair, well who's going to make it fair? Who's going to make it fair? The government? You think the government is going to fix this? The very people, the congressmen who make tens of millions of dollars on the stock market are going to fix it? Who take billions of dollars from corporations that are exploiting you? You think they're going to fix it? You think Donald Trump's going to fix it? Is that what y'all think? Wait. It's Al Sharpton. You think Al Sharpton's really gonna hook you up? He gonna make sure you good. Who's gonna fix it? Congressional Black Caucus? Where you can go into the districts of many of these leaders. I'm sorry, but you can go into a lot of their districts and see where you got schools where half the kids can't read, right? So no, again, I don't care what your politics are. I just want to ask you, if it's broke, who the hell's gonna fix it? If it's not fair, who's gonna balance the scale? Who's gonna do that for your child? I'm not talking about who's gonna do that for the whole black community. Stop trying to save the whole black community. Save yourself. Save your kids. Start there first. Then when you save your kids and save yourself, then you can save other people. So that's my question for you. Who's gonna fix it for your babies? Who's gonna fix it for your grandkids? It's gonna have to be you. It has to be you. It can't, there is no suit, there's no one else that's going to fix it. And here's the thing, this can be fixed. This can be fixed. Basic steps. Okay, I got plenty of life insurance to make sure that when I pass, my kids are gonna have wealth. Number two, I'm buying stocks consistently so that in 20 or 30 years we will have enough wealth in the family to sustain everyone and give everybody an emergency fund in case something goes wrong. Number three, we are trained on all the different areas of wealth, starting from real estate, stock market investing, and running a business. In addition to maybe going to our black job, there's no shame in going to a job, but there is a challenge that comes when the job is all that there is. So I've never been one to say that you're a sucker for going to a job or that working for somebody else makes you a buffoon. That would be a that I'd be a complete hypocrite. My wife has a job. However, my wife also, in addition to her job, my wife also has a husband. In addition to her job, my wife also has mutual funds. In addition to her job, my wife also has real estate. In addition to her job, my wife also has a family business that we all run together. We had a biz Me and the kids had a business meeting last night. For all you suckers that think that it's stupid for a man to marry a woman with kids, I had a business meeting with the two oldest kids, and those kids have helped us to make a lot of money and provide financial security for this house, which we can then flip and provide for them. So what y'all got to understand, what the suckers have to learn, and they're never gonna. I don't know why they're listening to the wrong people. Is you got to learn that there is strength when you support each other. The black family is a $1 trillion asset, and they stole it from you because they got these young boys out here chasing orgasms. They got women out here thinking they don't need a man. They got people out here spending more time at the job than they spend with their kids. They got kids that don't want to respect the parents, and all this stuff falls apart, and all y'all struggling. All y'all out here just trying to figure it out. Oh my God, I can't pay the bill. Well, of course, because you don't understand the economy you're in. You don't understand how this damn thing is built. You don't understand the nature of divide and conquer. You don't get that. So you can't play powernomics. You're gonna have to play strugglenomics because you're trying to swim by yourself because you've rejected some of the greatest assets that God put in your life from the very beginning. You've rejected all the principles that are necessary for you to build financial security. Financial security is hard to understand because that's not what they need you to have. What's the evidence of this, Boyce? Well, let me give you some evidence. Did anybody remember after the pandemic? Do you remember what the biggest problem was that they talked about on TV? They had billionaires on TV talking about this. Their biggest problem was, and if you like, let me describe it like this. I went to the Cheesecake Factory and I wanted to order, I usually get either chicken marsala or chicken teriyaki, right? It's so good. I get chicken teriyaki with strawberry lemonade. It's good, right? You can just taste it in your brain, right? And I ordered, and I'm excited. I'm pumped up. I'm hungry. It was like perfect time. I'm super hungry, and I'm ordering my food. I'm like, I like the chicken teriyaki and the strawberry lemonade. And the lady's like, we don't have chicken teriyaki. So of course I'm ready. I'm irate. I'm ready to just flip the tables over like Jesus up in there because I'm like, what you mean you ain't got chicken teriyaki? You supposed to have chicken teriyaki. And so what the lady said was she explained it. She said we don't have enough workers, so we had to cut the menu in half because they couldn't find people to come to work at the Cheesecake Factory. So I let it go. I was sad. It was a traumatic experience for me, but I figured I found something else on the menu to order, and it was just kind of it was a rough day, rough day. But here's what the problem was that was going on nationwide. It wasn't just Cheesecake Factory that had that problem. The whole country had that problem. They couldn't find workers. Does anybody remember that? They could not. People didn't want to go to work anymore. And the reason people didn't want to go to work is number one, there was government stimulus that went out where people had a little money in the bank. Number two, people got used to working from home and being at home because what happened was you snapped them out of the rut. You snapped them out of the hypnosis. You snapped them out of the brainwashing that tells you that your whole life is built around getting up, go to work, come home, go to bed, get up, go to work, come home, go to bed, get up, go to work, come home, go to bed. And then suddenly there's the pandemic, everything shuts down, and then you're sitting there and you're like, oh wait, this is the rest of my life that I was missing when I was spending all my time at work. Remember, we've done the math. If you work 40 hours a week for 50 weeks a year, that's 2,000 hours a year. In a 10-year period, that's 20,000 hours. Over a 50-year working career, you spent 100,000 hours at your job. And think about this. Some of y'all don't even like your job. 100,000 hours. That's a lot of time. That's a lot of time that could be spent with your kids, spent with your spouse, spent with your parents, spent with yourself, spent doing things you actually enjoy, right? So people started to experience that, and they were really concerned. Kevin O'Leary was on there. He said people that don't go to work are lazy, and people they're not committed, and da da da. Right? Well, of course he's committed because he's a billionaire, right? A lot of people are just like, no, we don't want to do this anymore. So what they wanted was they were actually advocating for little things like they wanted the government to start forcing people to pay their student loans again because they knew that the stress of paying the student loans would make them come back to work. They were asking the government to stop giving people money because they said giving them money is making them lazy and they don't want to come to work. So they wanted to pull you back into the trap. A lot of workers became like an animal that had been in a cage for a long time. He'd been in the cage so long he didn't even know he was in a cage, and then he got a taste of freedom. And the taste of freedom is a very dangerous thing. When you taste freedom, you realize that the old life ain't really the life that you wanted in the first. You only thought you wanted it because that was all you knew. And so basically when people got a taste of freedom, when that animal got out of the cage and he knows what it's like to be free, they had to figure out how do we lure him back into the cage. And the way they lure you back into the cage is through economic warfare. They get you back in the trap. Remember, we got trap music. They should be some of the best trap music creators in history are in the U.S. government. They forget T.I., right? No, T.I. is not the originator of trap music. The federal government is the originator of trap music. Your boss should be making trap music because basically the student loan trap keeps people going to work every day. The other traps, the inflation trap, keeps you going to work because you gotta hustle and keep moving in order to survive. And so what I'm saying to you is that you can get out of the trap, but you have to have a plan and you have to have the courage to think differently from everybody else. And also, the more time you use to prepare to get out of the trap, not just for yourself, but for your children, the more likely you are to get out of the trap, right? Building wealth in a short period of time is very hard to do. It's very difficult to do. But building wealth over a 20 or 30-year period is extremely easy, but you can't waste time. And you also have to have a consciousness. You have to care about someone other than yourself. If you don't care about your kids, then I can't help you. If your grandkids mean nothing to you, you shouldn't even be here. You should probably go do something else. But if you love those people and you know that they're going to inherit something from you, think about this. They're either going to inherit struggle or they're going to inherit prosperity, one or the other, and everything in between. What is the choice going to be? And all I'm asking is make that choice in a very conscious sort of way so that we don't pass this pain down to the kids. Because if you think it's going to get better, you're wrong. It's not going to get better. It's only going to get worse. Right now, workers' rights have already been stripped and the wages have been pushed down, everything else. Oh, they still got a whole lot more that they could keep doing before the American people just revolt against the system. It's going to take a while before Americans actually get to the point where they just say no more of this. So anyway, that's my thought for today. And so one thing I want to mention actually, I'm gonna hit one more piece on this. But before I do that, I want to remind everybody, one of the reasons I'm gonna bounce out a little bit early is because at noon we are meeting in the stock options war room where I put together some fast cash action plays that you can apply right now that will generate income out of this market right now today. I wanted to do this during trading hours so you can literally implement it right there on your phone or whatever in your investment account right then. So if you want to join us for stock options, feel free to go to drboyceprime.com, drboyceprime.com. You can also text the word options to the number 87948, and I'll alert you when we get together. Number two, we have a children's, a young entrepreneur activity book that we just made available, and so I sent out a link for those of you that are Black Wealth Ambassadors. If you want to take a look at that for your kids, because summertime's coming, and this is a great time to build a school in your house for your kids and have them learn their economics now through flashcards, workbooks. We have digital programs, all kinds of stuff, and get them ready for the future. So I will text that out a little bit later. Make sure you're on the text list for this class, and I'll send you the link. Text the word morning to the number 87948. So if you text morning to 87948, I'll send it to you. Last but not least, don't forget that we have the Economic Elevation Summit coming up in Miami. We're going to meet in Miami in 3D in the sun in a nice hotel and spend 3 days of building black wealth, building structured groups and doing all kinds of exercises together and forming teams so that we can do this together. So if you want to join us, just go to economicelevationsummit.com. That's economicelevationsummit.com. Now, one thing that I wanted to lay out here for you really quickly in terms of just a couple more things that I found. It was something else related to this topic. And remember, I've always talked to you guys about family and how, losing the black family, it would cost us more than what you might think, at least definitely in the area of economics. Here are a few stats that you can know. This is according to the Survey of Consumer Finances. The median net worth of married couples is 9 times higher than singles, 9 times higher. So marriage really is a wealth hack. But marriage is like building a business. Marriage is not something a lot of people get married because because of the feeling of love and the feeling of the excitement of being next to a pretty person. Uh, if you do that, I think you probably should never even try this because marriage I found is something that should be studied as much as you studied for your black job. Like the same way you study to become a certified nurse's aide or study to become a lawyer, you should also study to become a wife. You should study to become a husband, study to become a parent, because those jobs are far more important than that black job you got working for that white man down at the factory. That's the reality, and I mentioned that to you. It's problematic that we will spend more energy training for a job than we will spend training to be a head of a household. I am the head of a household. I am a husband. I'm a father. I have had to read books about women to understand my wife. I've had to watch YouTube videos about teenagers to understand how these crazy kids think when they start acting weird. I've had to learn how to be a proper head of a household in a way that's gonna create the kind of space that is going to leave good memories for them as opposed to bad memories. The power of a father is very, very strong, overwhelming. So a father who is irresponsible with that power is like someone driving a car and they're driving drunk. And many of you know this. Many of you have experienced what it's like to be in a household with a father that wasn't conscious about how his words and his actions impacted other people. So in order to be, this is my advice for anybody that wants to run a household. I don't have it all figured out. Ain't nobody an expert at this damn thing. People that pretend to be experts don't know what the hell they talking about, and all the advice you're getting on the internet is stupid because it's from people who have broken relationships anyway. But I will tell you, anything you want to be good at, go study it. And I can tell you this, if you study it properly and learn it, you will find that it will influence your economics heavily. I told you just last night at 11 o'clock at night, I got a knock on the door from our middle child, Nicole, who's super smart. She's the one going to Tuskegee. We had a business meeting in the hallway. So the oldest and in the middle and me, we were talking, we were making battle plans for the business. And so ultimately, this helps me because it's less stress on me. I don't have to go hire strangers to go do this. I can hire people in the family. For them, it becomes a natural business school. While I'm showing them business, I'm teaching them business and we're doing business. So they're learning business. They know more about business at 17, 18, 19, and 20 than most of these college graduates will know at the age of 35. Do you understand that? So here's the deal. You don't need nobody's permission to have a school in your house. Your house is already a natural educational institution if you use it that way. If you don't, if you waste the opportunity, then yeah, the white man gonna grab your child, put a bunch of crap in their head, and teach them how to be everything other than an asset to the family or an asset to the community. But if you step in and you say, let's get together, let's talk together, let's build on love. I love you, I care about you, so I want you next to me so I can be a person that can pour into you, you pour into me, we become loyal to each other, we help each other succeed. I cannot run my business without my kids. I can't. I can't. It would overwhelm the hell out of me. And let me just tell you, they've really added to the net worth of this family. So let me keep going. Let me keep reading. All right. So when you see all those people out there struggling financially and they're like, "Oh my God, I can't pay the bills." Ask yourself in your head, do you have a spouse? Do you have people to help you? Because economics is a team sport. Let me keep going. Family businesses also build lasting wealth. Family-owned businesses generated 64% of U.S. GDP, and they employ 62% of the workforce. So family business is big business. Marriage reduces poverty risk. Children in married couple households are 82% less likely to live in poverty than those in single parent homes. That's why picking the right spouse and learning how to get along with that person is essential in terms of other outcomes. No, no, I'm not. And just so you know, if you are a single parent, I am not in any way shaming you, ridiculing you, or asking you to feel bad about your life. That is not my job. I'm just giving you data so that as you make your next step, you'll kind of be able to process this as you teach your kids. You can share this with them. Um, Dual income households are more resilient. Two parent families are twice as likely to maintain middle class status over time than single parent families. This is according to Pew Research. Also, among African Americans, married households have 2.5 times the median wealth of unmarried households. This is according to the Institute for Family Studies. So my point is to say that family is critical. And so let's say that you're single and you don't want to get married or you can't get married or whatever it is. Well, you can still build family. You can build family with people that you trust, people that have the same ideas as you, the same mission as you, people that respect you, people that will pour into you as you pour into them. But you need a team. That's my point here because you have an economy that isn't very nice to workers. And that's never going to change. And I would encourage you to understand what you can do in order to deal with that and to manage that. Okay, so Shatik says, "Can I get a recording of today's class?" Yeah, this one I'm streaming to YouTube, so let me just put this link in here so you can have this. But then also, if you want a recording of everything, if you go to drboycebookclub.com, there is a fee, but it's lifetime access, so you can have lifetime access to all the recordings. Chanel puts every recording in there, so you can just go to drboycebookclub.com and you can get a recording of every single one of these sessions that we've done. And I think by this point, we've probably done about 500 of these trainings in the last year and a half alone because we meet every single day, 7 days a week. Because I think that if in order for us to overcome the obstacles that we face, we have to be serious and we have to do our best. So the best way for me to convince you to do your best is for you to see me doing my best. And I said I don't want to do this once a month. I don't want to do this once a week. I want to do this every damn day. I'm not playing with these people. These racists want to harm us and control us and exploit us and destroy us. Not on my watch, buddy. No, you gonna have a fight on your hands. So we got to all be some Nat Turners up in here, and I'm 100% serious about that. So anyway, so shout out to the other people that are serious, and God bless you, and I really encourage you, and I really believe in you, and I know that we can do this. So never give up. All right, so before I go, really quickly, Larissa Humphreys' course in the Black Business School on how to pay zero taxes legally is going to start on the 22nd. I'll text out that link. So if you're on the text list where you text morning to 87948, just be prepared. I'm going to send you a couple of text messages in the next few hours. So one will be a link to Larissa's class if you're interested in learning how to cut your tax bill and pay zero taxes. It's really fascinating. Number two, the stock options war room. We're going to meet for stock options income strategies at noon today. And so if you want to join us, you can go to drboyceprime.com. And also I'll send a link out if you want to take a look at that. Third, Miami, the Economic Elevation Summit is May 9th and 10th. And so if you want to join that as well, just go to economicelevationsummit.com. All right, guys, have a good day. God bless you. And I'll see you all tomorrow morning, if not sometime during the day. So take care, everybody.